Hello. Hello. Welcome. I haven't done I haven't done a live in a while. But I had a really cool download through channeling with my soul, and I wanted to share what's been happening of late, which has been very cool. And I've been going through a massive upgrade with my intuition, with my energy field, with my vibe, calling me out, bringing things out of the shadow that I may have suppressed. But today I want to tell a little story. So I want to start with, if you notice up the top, I put people pleasing is your superpower. Do you know how often we get, people pleasing gets a bad rap? I've been one of them. I'm going to say it. Because it's usually the go-to that, got you into situations where you were walked all over like a doormat. Pretty much. So there is a place for that conversation that is not here right now. Because, I want to talk about the reality of people pleasing and what's actually happening in that, why it's a superpower. And there is a place in the world where we need to talk about don't be a doormat. But the side note to that, on the other side of the coin, is what does it offer you in the duality? So if you're not a doormat, you don't want to be a doormat anymore. You've stopped wanting to be a doormat and you don't want people to walk all over you, but you want to bring in a different energy field. We're going to talk about the vibe of that and what that means and how people pleasing is actually a superpower, especially nowadays with the way the world is. Now I'm going live here. I'm not really worried about whether you join the live, whether you watch the live, whether you like the live, whether you enjoy this live. All I know is that my soul is calling me to share this in the world right now. And so that's what I'm doing. And the people who resonate with that. So there's no people pleasing as such, but I'm being my truth. I'm being who I am, but I'm also owning that I have this superpower that is, I call the Chameleon code. Because I'll tell you a bit of a story about me. So my whole life, I wasn't in the cool gang. I wasn't in the popular story, but I also wasn't in the unpopular story. Not that I ever saw anyone as unpopular. I never saw anyone as unpopular. I saw people for who they were my whole life. My ability to see things, feel things, has been with me my whole life. But what it enabled me to do was see what, as kids we thought were the popular cool group. It didn't feel like that to me because in reality I saw what someone might feel deep down, even though they're the cool one. And so my whole life, I was friends with everybody. I was friends with everyone, not because, and maybe it was a safety mechanism, maybe. However, for the most part, it was just I genuinely saw people for who they were. And I loved people. I loved talking to people. I loved working with people. I was friends with every group at school. I don't think there was a friend group that I didn't have. It was almost like I played with different groups. I played with different friends. I did different things. I always, was expansive. I was always passionate about multiple things. My genius zone, though, was part of this chameleon effect that I could have. And it wasn't until later in life when I started working and, networking was a superpower, right? Because the people pleasing thing, but it became more of a thing where, you're picking up on other people's vibes and you're carrying it around and you're doing things. It was never to be liked, but it was noticing now that people didn't like themselves. That was a lot of it. But also that I saw that. Like, I think in those younger days, I didn't really know that I saw what I saw. Whereas as I got older, like, I knew that, you know, the bully of the workplace wasn't really liking themselves very much. It wasn't to do with me. However, the part of me that was always wanting to be kind, wanting to be, you know, generous and kind-hearted and loving, and all these traits that now completely serve me and are a superpower, I learned, like, through life, that I may have been letting myself be a little bit of a doormat. But that doesn't mean the reason for that was the learning. Like, I learn a lot through living my life, experiencing life. Now, you could say I was a doormat. You could say that I was really just not understanding my superpower and the chameleon aspect, the empathic aspect, the highly sensitive aspect, the highly intuitive aspect, the super sensitive person that I am. And also then adding in the kind-heartedness that I never really saw. Like, I didn't see it in myself. It wasn't until I want to say 10 years, but I don't think it was that long. But say 7 to 10 years ago, I had a coach, and we did this focus thing through my career and how I was as a person and what I did. And the thing that he saw in me that I never saw, he said, was my kind-heartedness. And I was just like, I just don't see it. And that was probably because I might have had a little bit of a blockage or two. But for myself, like, being kind-hearted to myself, like, that's part of the shift in people-pleasing, is you are allowed to please yourself. You're allowed to be kind to yourself. You're allowed to give to yourself. You're allowed to have a space for you within this aspect of this code. And it wasn't until probably later in life where I fully started to understand the level of not judging that I had, that made me a really good coach, right? That's what made, like, people turn up, they tell me stories, and I'm just like, all right, this is where we're at. Like, there's no, like, judgment around it. And the only thing that I noticed was, you know, there's a level of compassion for yourself, this self-compassion. And I always had compassion for others because, you know, I forgave people easily for their behavior, and I forgave. And then I started to get a bit wise to that. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to do a 3 strikes you're out rule. And then I started to get a little ice queenie and be a bit like, this was years and years ago, you know, be like, nah, I'm done. See you later. That's not happening. But then I also started to realize that, you know, as I raised my own vibration, as I became more conscious, as I became more aware, this level of relationship that I had with other people was beyond what other people had, because of my gifts. And so my superpower was really a reality check. That's what I offer sometimes. And at other times, like, I offer a space for people to come to and be who they really are and seeing who they are. So it wasn't until later that I worked out that what I was, what I would call doormat, actually my superpower was door opener. And I have made many, many relationships over my life. Like, I have networked, you know, being in sales, I've had many, many people who've been in my life for a lifetime, and then lifetimes, and then other people have been in for a moment and left. But that reality of, for me, was understanding the relationship between people, and that not everything is always forever. But at the same time, this superpower, when I really looked at this chameleon, and chameleon really means, like, I am going to resonate with you. Like, this is part of my gift. I resonate so highly. Like, I have this quick resonance. So I meet someone and I'm like resonating straight away because I understand where they're at, what they're doing really quickly, because I'm picking up on these nuances underneath that not everyone wants you to see, which is how you become slightly unpopular when it's only natural that I did this. I didn't I didn't like, a lot of it, yes, I developed it, but a lot of it was a natural genius that I have. So, seeing someone, being able to resonate with someone straight away, but then someone saying, no, I don't want to resonate with you, like that, because they don't want to be seen in that way. That people are wearing masks so that you don't see what's going on. I mean, people hire me because they want me to see what they can't see. That's the whole point. But there's people who are like, I don't want to see that. I don't want you to see that. And I don't want to see that. It wasn't about me seeing it. It's that they don't want to look at what I see. And that's completely cool too. So I had to find the balance of what I actually see and how I can be compassionate to myself with my gifts, my ability to channel, my ability to resonate, my ability to connect quickly, my ability to channel really quickly. But one of the most powerful things as a chameleon and as a person who is undefined in a lot of their, energy fields, in that unconsciously I open doors. Like I used to sort of kind of see myself at one stage as like, you should talk to this person and this person. It's like a connector in the energy field of things. It's like, connect to that. You should connect to that. You could connect to that. You could connect to that. And so as I became a coach, I started to learn that I was opening up potential. Like my people pleasing became not doormat, it became door opener. And that's because I'm kind-hearted. I have less judgment than other people. Not necessarily all the time, but you need discernment with this gift, because that's how you alleviate the space between like doormat and door opener, like these two things. Like there is this thing in between. Nuance and discernment was something I had to learn, because that's how doormatting happens. Because when you are an open book, when you are a person who puts themselves out there, you become, well, not necessarily targeted, and some people may have, I've seen it many times, but you're easily, if you don't have that boundaries and you don't understand the discernment, you won't be able to say, no, that's not okay. No, that's not for me. No, we're not a match. This is an energetic match, that kind of thing. Even when you're selecting partners, when you're selecting people, when you're selecting friends, when you're selecting how the choices and things that come into your life. Like for me, I'm lucky because I am a person who follows joy. I follow happiness. If I'm in the expansion of that, and I'm moving with the energy that brings me joy, that, like this, it brings me joy to share. Like I love expressing, I love sharing, and I love dropping like the codes, and I love speaking in groups, and I love, I love coaching in groups. I love coaching one-to-one, like all of the ways that I share what I do and this chameleon aspect of who I am, which essentially is a highly sensitive person who can use her superpower for the benefit of humanity and serve unconditionally without, and I say unconditionally in that I'm unconditionally as open-hearted as best to my ability, and that's my spiritual dharma of learning to open and trust that this is going to land with the right people, and trust that you all, the people who this is for are going to feel it and hear it. And, I send out healing vibes before I even come on here. It's just to release and change the karmic levels of energetic, of energetic exchange. So we are always going to end up in a place where, this is what I'm inviting in. We're opening doors. Like this opened doors for someone. This conversation, if it opens doors for one person who watches this, like that is the point. And there's no, reason why it doesn't have to be more than that, right? And to be honest, it could just be on my side where I'm like, I'm just sharing and I get to receive in that. But whoever this lands with, one person is all it takes to change. And it was funny because my original discussion was going to be around changing reality. And like, I'm just showing you, like you can have your doormat story of things that have happened in the past where people have walked all over you, but you can also look at, where is this a superpower? And it is absolutely a superpower. If you are a people pleaser, I'm guaranteeing you're a kind-hearted, loving, generous, like your zone of genius is through the roof, because your emotional intelligence, when you understand it, is powerful, is beyond, means that you can play in duality and move beyond it. And that's the superpower of the chameleon. That's the superpower of moving forward as the person who is literally a person who is kind-hearted and generous and loving and changing the world in a good way, changing the world in a higher vibration. And when you learn that, you actually get to be in a higher vibration yourself, right? That's the point. And so, I'm going to send an invitation out. If you're watching this and it is an alignment for you to actually work with me one-on-one, you can, we can do I can do soul channeling sessions where I'm tapping into your soul. I did one last night in the It's Your Destiny membership, where we were doing unlocking your potential, and we're bringing in the people who are wanting to align with their soul on a higher level. And I teach you how to, I will channel your soul language to you so you can resonate with it, because so then you can understand it, and I can actually then give you the message from your soul. So we can do soul channeling sessions or soul reading sessions. We can do, healing sessions, and healing is really about shifting out the negative energy that's remaining from those relationships where the doormatting existed, where the energy was like, this is not, like, I stopped myself from being this person for years, fully in my, hello, I'm here and I've arrived, literally stopped myself because of all the times that people were challenged by it. And for the times when the relationship needed to end or things needed to move on, like, I literally held back myself and stopped stepping into my likability, my ability to turn up, my ability to read the room, my ability to read energy, like that, like my ability to turn on and get future readings for someone, my abilities to turn up. And my job as a coach, as a healer, as Eiran Trethowan, because you know what, like labeling yourself just limits. And I'm all about living an unlimited life, and living a life where we are divinely guided, we are soul led, and that was been my lesson, like really understanding, for me to be unconditional in my service, my soul has to fully lead. So this morning, I was laughing and talking about, winging it. There's a part of me that would wing it because I'm in the doormat. I'm winging it. And that's like living the 80% of your gift. To live the 100%, I was like, well, I need to prepare. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm not a person who's going to be like writing a list and writing all the words that I'm going to say and putting all the pieces together for you as I'm talking. And it was like, what is the preparation for me is to channel my own soul language, channel my soul's message that it wants to be put out in the world. And so I did that, and here we are now. Like, it was guiding me, saying, this is the story, this is the thing that you resonating with at the moment, and this is the outcome of that. And I was like, right, so this is how it works, and so I'm using it myself now. So preparation for me is channeling, like is using what I do for everybody else for myself, for making my life better, to receive better in my life, to fill my life with more joy, to fill my life with more abundance and virtue and blessings. We are asked to actually put ourselves out there in ways that are more vulnerable, and to own the parts of us that are what would seem to be it's like, the perfect message is when they say, pick your niche, choose your niche. And it's like, for me, I was like, oh my God. Do you know in my Instagram, like 1 minute I'm doing business, next minute I'm doing life, next minute I'm doing soul work, next minute I'm doing relationships. Like, because I can't define, I'm very undefined in all of my even all my centers in human design. And so a lot of the time I still have definition, but unconsciously. So when someone's like, you can't be the chameleon because you don't want to be a doormat, so you need to put up these boundaries, we become over-boundaried, too discerning, and then we stop ourselves from shining. We stop ourselves from putting ourselves out there in the most authentic way. And by the way, the most authentic way is your soul's way. And so I invite you today to ask me about one-to-one coaching. I invite you to ask me about soul channeling. I've still got a few sessions left at the price that it's at right now. And you can also do healing sessions for 1 month where I'm going to give you like a combo of like, I had someone last night, they had received, they're a long-term coaching client. So they're in a coaching container. They're also in It's Your Destiny because they're in the coaching container. So they're getting group work, they're getting all the different things, but they're getting these healings. And the other day she was 7 weeks, she was going sick, not being able to make appointments, doing all these things. And she said to me, I had that session with you, and she said, and I had that healing. And she said, I'm like a different person. She said, I got the energy. She said, I've found a space in myself for me. Like, it's those things that are really important. And with the Tao, when we're doing healing, we're clearing out negative information. That's what I was saying before. We're clearing out negative information, and we're bringing in positive information. And it's instant. So the thing about change is you can choose and change in an instant. Like, it doesn't have to be a year. It doesn't have to be 10 years. It's like, I'm choosing to be different today. I'm choosing to walk through, and I'm choosing to do the thing that I'm afraid of, or I'm choosing to do the thing that I think is blocking me. I'm choosing to, tell this story and share why what you push against is usually your superpower. And super growth, my one-to-one container, which is all about intense, like, we get you going for 6 months. We're like intense, like me channeling, talking, we're doing things, and you're moving really quickly. Like super growth, it's like the one to be in. So if that is you, and you want some of this, and you want some of the potential, and you want some of the chameleon energy, or finding your way as a chameleon, because I attract a lot of clients who are the people-pleasing vibes, is finding the vibe that is your people-pleasing vibe and how it can work for you. So I leave you with this, and I leave you with the most like gorgeous sending blessing energy that I could give you. And I hope that you have a brilliant day, and I will see you next time I am on live. Have a beautiful day. See you later.